This episode of The Reasons I'm Broke is brought to you by Audible.
Sign up today and get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
There's over 150,000 titles to choose from, all available on your Android device, Kindle, and iPhone.
Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
This is episode 128. New listeners out there, we cover the news first, ranging from those subjects, and then we do the comic book reviews at the very end. That is on our personal pull list. If you ever want to share what you got during the week and whether you enjoyed it or didn't, you can get a hold of us on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke or on Facebook.com/The Reasons I'm Broke.
And first, we're going to jump right into our news. We're going to start off with some television news.
More movie news, because we don't really know if this is going to come to the U.S. at all.
It's coming to the U.S., please.
Yeah, but will it be in theaters, or will it be direct to Blu-ray?
I don't care.
Isn't that
I'll pay
weird?
for it either way.
We call it direct to Blu-ray now. It used to be direct to DVD.
I saw something, speaking of Blu-ray, that says, whatever comes after Blu-ray, can we all just ignore it? Because I can't restart my collection.
Coming to home video cassette. I remember that one.
Yes. That was some good times.
With that blue screen and the weird handwriting.
You had to have the separate rewinder to rewind it. Do you remember that?
I remember. We had one that was actually in the shape of a little boat, because it used to make that boating noise whenever you rewound it. Mine did, at least.
The boating noise?
Yeah, like a little as a boat's like going through the water.
Makes
like a
sense.
little.
I knew somebody who had a race car.
That makes sense too.
Because it went, yeah.
And Blockbuster it was Blockbuster or Hollywood that would charge you if you didn't have your videotape rewound.
I don't think it was Blockbuster, because they just had the note that said, "Be kind, please rewind."
Why does it sound like Mitch Hedberg?
Because he's the best.
Be kind and rewind.
But I never rewound. And I always got movies that weren't rewound.
I did, because I didn't like it when I didn't get movies there. I had to stop and actually rewind it before I got to watch it. So I wanted to do it for someone else.
And then you're watching it backwards and now it's spoiled.
Not only that, but I got to use the little boat. So it made it fun. I don't know, I was kind of weird.
I want some young kid to be listening like,
what the fuck are they talking about? So the movie is actually Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F. Coming right off of Battle of Gods. That was really successful. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much what they were going to go off of and say, okay, are we going to do more Dragon Ball movies? If this is successful, let's do it. Look at that. Resurrection of F is coming.
The answer was, hell yes we are.
We have a synopsis for the movie.
Remnants of Frieza's army, Sorbet and Tagoma, arrive on planet Earth. Their goal is to revive Frieza with the Dragon Balls.
That's always the plan.
Always.
Use the Dragon Balls.
The dastardly wish is granted. Frieza plans his revenge against the Saiyans. So, when you told me it was a resurrection of F, I wasn't thinking Frieza. I was thinking female. So I'm like, oh, so he finally became a woman.
Oh, Frieza would have become a woman?
Yes. He's like halfway there.
Did you think it was a girl too when you were growing up? Frieza?
I don't remember. I think I only caught the end of the Frieza saga.
Right when he turned Super Saiyan and the planet exploded?
Not even that. Like when Cooler and King Cold
Cooler was
showed
the
up.
movie.
But they all show up and Trunks killed him.
Oh, okay, so it was his dad.
Spoilers,
and Frieza.
sorry. So that's when I remember starting to watch it, because I thought it was real weird. I'm like, why are they all named after refrigerators? This is odd. But
that's
then
not Frieza, that's a fucking Mewtwo.
Then I saw Trunks, and my pre-teenage self was like, oh, that man. It was that bowl cut.
This movie, Resurrection of F, is set to debut in Japanese theaters on April 18th. No word yet on a North American release. We'll, of course, update you when that happens.
There will be a North American release, and I'm hoping they put that Frieza song on CD, because that'll be my new ringtone.
If you haven't seen the trailer yet, it's all in Japanese, and you hear that, except the song. The song is actually, I guess, in English.
Frieza, 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 Frieza. That's not how it goes.
That's essentially how it goes. They just say Frieza over and over again.
It's like, Frieza, Frieza.
You could have made that song.
I probably did make that song. I'm Newsarama and I wrote the Frieza song. Except I would have written it Frieza, 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 Frieza.
So this form of Frieza, there's a brand new one.
Yes.
Super Saiyan Frieza, I guess.
Gold-plated Frieza.
People were a little upset by this because they thought it was a little lazy on their side of designs. They wanted a new form to Frieza, just like he had in the anime. He kept getting smaller and smaller and more powerful. And when he got his final form, that's the one you see that kind of looks like Mewtwo. Mm-hmm. And they wanted something new for this movie. Like, okay, so he reaches an even more powerful form. Instead of just a color swap or making him gold, maybe a brand new version of him.
I don't know. I think it's fine. Calm down, guys. You got the Frieza song. What more do you want?
I'm with them. I think a new form would have been awesome. But at the same time, we're getting another Dragon Ball movie. Like, there's only so much you can complain about. It's happening. There's going to be more coming. And one of the characters, the villain from the first movie, which I haven't seen yet, it's on its way. I'm going to try to catch it on Netflix. But he does make an appearance in this Resurrection of F. So that kind of shows that they're making a huge arc over these movies. They're all connected. And that's really nice. Because in the older Dragon Ball Z movies, it was just like an hour-and-a-half episode, and that was it. You wouldn't see repercussions of what happened in the show.
That's right, because there was the one with his dad and Broly, who I always thought was broccoli. Like, I don't know.
From what I understood, Broly was the original legendary Super Saiyan. And Goku kind of fucked all of it up. He became the one that stopped Frieza, when in reality, I guess it was supposed to be Broly.
Yes, but Broly went cray-cray because Goku kept crying.
Right.
Because he's a little crybaby. Little crybaby Goku.
So we're excited. We're going to try to catch it in theaters. When Battle of Gods first came out, it was very limited, and I think we were both working that weekend anyway, and we weren't able to catch it. But as you can see, we're going to catch up through Netflix, and obviously try to catch Resurrection of F when that releases.
I hope Vegeta gives it to Frieza. Like, finally, instead of dying like a little bitch.
That was his best scene, though, in all of the anime.
It was. I get that, and I appreciate that. But Frieza put him through some crap, man. And I've read a lot of fan fiction. It was a lot of crap he put him through. So I hope Vegeta gets his revenge finally.
That would be nice.
Krillin can still die.
Give him his moment.
Krillin
dies again.
That's fine. Same way.
Whatever it takes for Goku to reach another version of Super Saiyan.
Super duper Saiyan.
Continuing with the movie news, Warner Brothers is actually developing an Adventure Time full-length animated movie.
I was going to make this into another Frieza song, but I can't.
It's tough.
I tried. Adventure time! I did it. So this will be produced by Chris McKay, who is the executive producer on the Lego Movie, and Roy Lee, who was co-producer on How to Train Your Dragon.
We love the Lego Movie. You liked How to Train Your Dragon.
I did.
And we both like Adventure Time.
Of course.
Pendleton Ward, who is actually the creator of Adventure Time, will be writing the film.
Perfect. The Cartoon Network show has previously won 2 Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Animation.
I don't think it's going to be CG, to be perfectly honest. I think not. With Pendleton Ward attached to it, it will be just like the show, but obviously way longer. I mean, the episodes are normally 15 minutes long.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're going to get an entire movie out of it. I feel like Adventure Time has kind of dipped a little bit in popularity, and I only say this because the comics have slowed down in terms of sales. A couple of the figurines as well have slowed down. So I can only assume that the show is kind of starting to level off, if anything. So it is smart of them to bring out this movie, one, to capitalize on, okay, let's try to get as many fans to see this and get as much money while we can, but 2, it might actually give the show that bump again to maybe even more popular than what it was before. Kind of like SpongeBob, I'm sure that got a huge boost from the film.
Oh, SpongeBob still hanging on with its last breath.
I honestly thought it was canceled like 2 years ago.
I did. I thought it was canceled way more than 2 years ago.
Like, I saw it was still going.
That was early high school. That was middle school.
That's one show I never liked. SpongeBob.
I did, but I think it was only because the kid that I liked SpongeBob too. So I thought I had to like it so that he would like me. It didn't work out that way. FYI, people. It doesn't work out that way.
Of course not. So we'll be there day 1.
Of course. I'm so excited. I would love to see a lot of Ice King in this.
Yeah, that would be a great...
Just him being crazy, but He's a crazy old fool in love.
It needs to focus on him. I think that is the one character you can make an entire movie out of. You can't do that with BMO. I don't think you can really do that with Finn unless maybe you go into his past, but they've kind of explored that already.
The thing about Finn is he's a great supporting character, I feel. More than a main character. Because his motivation is just to be a kid and have fun. Which I get, but you have Ice King who goes after these princesses because he used to call his woman princess, and so he can't remember her, but he knows he needs to find his princess.
Do you think even though we saw Ice King's origins, do you think they can still do more with that?
Oh, yes.
In the comic, no, it wasn't even the comic. In the cartoon, it wasn't his wife, his girlfriend actually got pulled into their universe, and they can't be together because of the powers that she has. So they could continue that into the movie. I don't see LSP having it. It's got to be Ice King. That's who it has to be. I think that's really the direction they're going.
I think Pendleton, though, if he looks at this as like, this is it for the show, go out with a bang, I think they could do Marceline and Princess Bubblegum.
That'd be another one.
And focus a lot on their friendship / romance.
There's definitely romance there. We've seen it in the comics.
Yes.
The only other plot that I can think of would be the origin of how they all got that way, the Great Mushroom War.
Oh, I would love to see that, absolutely, with the Lich King.
Yes.
We've seen a little bit of it, but really focus on that.
Lich King is Ron Perlman, if I remember correctly.
Is it? Oh, he was Spooky Man. I don't like the Lich King.
I'm sure he'll make an appearance. We'll see a little snail. All of our favorite characters we're in.
Of course. So keeping with our movie news, this week we did see the
Best Picture winner.
Yes, Birdman.
Won Best Picture at the Oscars. The director as well ended up winning for Best Directing. I used to be a film major, so I kind of tried to see as many of these as I can. Of course, I'm limited on time, but Birdman, it kind of worked out because it happened to be playing right then when we were at the theater, and it's like, okay, cool, let's finally go see it. And it wasn't that full either, so it was an enjoyable experience. We're not going to spoil the movie for anyone out there. It is out on video, if I remember correctly. It's actually still in theaters because people are going to see those Oscar movies. From the trailer, what you would think it is, it's just like a has-been actor trying to get into making his own play and trying to succeed at it. But really, it's a man's fall into insanity in a way. But mainly, it's good. Mainly, though, I felt like it was a message about the superhero movies of today.
Yes.
And it was very much anti-superhero movies. And that's the whole way Hollywood has been lately. If you saw the Oscar shows, it was nothing but them slamming the Avengers and Batman and Superman and all of that, making fun of it. And I feel like that's one big reason why the Lego movie got snubbed, because it did have, Batman as such a centerpiece in the movie, and all the different characters.
But he was so great. He had a great song too.
It really was the best animated movie
this year.
At least that performed,
parents.
Right? That had to make it. And that's what Birdman was. It was just him dealing with the fact that this is what people want to see. It's these action movies, and they painted it out as like them being shitty movies too. Like they were like, they just want to see their eyes gloss over on these explosions and these people fighting and these superheroes. That's what they want, man. They don't want your play or your sophistication or any of that. And I get it. I understand what they're saying. But there's always going to be a movie or a genre that's going to be popular at the time that Hollywood is going to be banking off of. At this moment, it's superhero movies. And I don't know why Hollywood chose to latch onto that as the thing they were going to pick on.
I don't know. Because they're silly. Because none of them look as good as these superheroes.
I think it's a money factor. They make so much money, not only in the film itself, but in merchandise, tie-ins, sponsors, everything. And not every actor can get in on those movies.
Agreed.
And I guess they see it as an oversaturation right now, but we're not even to the point yet where Justice League has come out, or Avengers 3, or any of that.
We're not even to the good movies yet, guys.
Maybe we'll know by 2020, but I'm still excited of everything that's coming at that point. Green Lantern, The Flash, all that stuff.
I can see how these movies would upset people. Because, and this is a bad example, but a movie like The Tree of Life. Tree of Life?
It was The Tree of Life. That is the shitty one?
Yeah, that weird, real artsy one. So you have someone who puts all the time and thought process into making a real artsy movie, and they get beaten out money-wise by something that they see as just...
Like Transformers or something.
Exactly. Something that's just explosions. And so I can see why they're upset. I understand it. But if the movie industry is doing well...
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say that's the story. That's always been the case in all of movies history. Like it's gonna be the shiny explosion, whatever it is, whatever captures people's imagination is gonna be what's popular, and that's what they're gonna go see. It's not like this is a recent thing where a well-written movie or well-acted movie gets overlooked in favor of something that maybe not as much effort was put into. That's always been the case. And a big example, my favorite movie of all time is The Fountain by Darren Aronofsky. Did shit at the box office. But people like me still enjoy it, still love it, and I won't blame... I don't even know what was out at the time. I won't say, oh, well, those fucking movies are what didn't make people go see The Fountain. That's just not the case. The performances in Birdman were amazing, though.
Yes, agreed.
Michael Keaton was fantastic. Also, Edward Norton, as a parody of himself, an actor that's kind of a pain in the ass to work with. And I was reading the trivia on IMDb. They said at one point he was actually overlooking the script and wanted to make some changes. And that's when the director said, right now you're being that character that you're playing. And he's like, okay, and immediately stopped. So there's a lot of inside jokes if you know a little bit of history with these actors.
Right, and then we had Emma Stone in there also.
She was great too.
Yeah, she did a really good job. I thought it was ironic that they're all actors in superhero movies.
That's true. I'm sure that was deliberate.
Oh, I'm sure.
The one thing everyone talks about is the one-shot take for the entire movie, where it all seems like it's one entire take.
Yes. Until one particular point of the movie.
There's a couple of
that?
Yeah, and there's a couple of transitions there that you see are obvious. But it's not jarring. I didn't feel like.
Well, and that was something I really noticed, is that it all felt like one take. The transitions that he's talking about is, for example, it'll look up at the buildings at night, and then it'll fade into morning, but you're still looking at the same buildings. So I can definitely see why it won for Best Direction, because I felt that was very unique and very difficult to pull off, because you can't cut anything out of that movie. Without messing up the entire flow of what you're working on. But it made it all feel very realistic, because it felt like you were walking through the halls and living with all these people.
Would you recommend it to the Brokettes out there?
Absolutely. It won Best Picture for a reason. So check it out.
In spite of the message, anti-superhero movie message, anti-Transformers, any of that?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I say don't take that to heart. Understand what they're saying and recognize it. But it's not like, don't be offended by it.
Right.
Enjoy the movie. It's still a good story and well acted, well directed. Absolutely worth the watch.
So Warner Brothers chairman and CEO Kevin Sugihara spoke out earlier this week on the matter of superhero movies and how they're set apart from the Marvel films.
It's interesting that we're now moving into the superhero news coming right off of Birdman. But he did say that the big franchises are becoming more and more valuable. You don't have to explain to the consumer what Batman v Superman actually is. The world of DC is very different. They're steeped in realism, and they're a little bit edgier than Marvel movies, is what Kevin said.
Yes, I love that he said DC is in realism, because that's always one thing that's bothered me about Marvel, is they cray-cray.
Well, that's the complete opposite, too. The Marvel fans like that the Marvel movies are a little bit more comic booky and quote-unquote fun, whereas the DC ones, it is realistic, there are real problems, and with that comes a negative reaction to the superheroes when, for example, Superman destroys an entire city trying to defend the world.
Right. No, that is something that I love about DC. I hate when they put magic in DC. Dumb Constantine.
No, you like Constantine.
I like the Constantine show. I don't like Constantine in comic books.
So you're not going to see Dark Universe, which is the Justice League Dark?
I mean, I'll see it.
You'll be fine.
Just, meh.
The Avengers movie didn't have magic in it.
Yeah, but it has Thor.
They explain that as advanced science.
No.
They do. You can't just say no. Absolutely.
I can say no all I want. You can't tell me I can't say no. Go ahead, say something else. I'll just say no to it.
Do you think it's good that the DC movies are steeped in realism? I got you now.
No. By no, I mean yes.
You're like a politician.
I'm Frank Underwood. Let me tap my ring on things.
For me, it's not so much. I like the DC movies more because they're more realistic. I could care less. It's just the characters I like way more than the Marvel ones.
Well, yeah, Batman.
Batman, of course, I relate more to those comic books because we read way more of them. Mm-hmm. They're just more fascinating to us. I think the DC superheroes are way more iconic, and because of that, it makes for truly, you'll see some fantastic things on film. And when you actually finally see Batman fight Superman, two icons go at it, that's bigger to me than seeing like the Avengers fight among themselves in a civil war, which is cool to a lot of fans. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, it's just there's more. It's heavier when Batman and Superman, those two names, are in a movie fighting. Even the Marvel fanboys, I feel like, could agree with this DC fanboy to an extent of like, yeah, those guys are pretty fucking iconic. If anything, Superman for sure, you can't deny.
Everybody unites for Batman v Superman. Marvel, DC, you all become one. Keeping with the superhero movies, earlier this week, they also released an Avengers 2 Age of Ultron trailer.
Complete flip side. Mm-hmm. This releases on May 1st, right before Free Comic Book Day this year. Awesome. So it's going to be insane at every comic shop out there. It's going to be great. Great for business. Mm-hmm. Great for everyone. Your thoughts first.
I mean, it looked okay. Can I tell you what I was really thinking for this entire trailer? I was just looking at Scarlett Johansson, looking for the green screen around her stomach because I know she's pregnant.
That's what you were looking at.
I'm dead serious. That was the only thing I thought. For the whole thing.
Right? Well, for me, Avengers 2 to me, it looked exactly like Avengers 1, where Ultron has a bunch of his robots, and they have to defend the world or the city or whatever.
Yes.
And then they're going to plant the seeds of Civil War in which the team is fighting among themselves.
Yes.
Because Tony Stark created Ultron,
hence dummy.
Creating all of this.
Yes.
We don't know how he went about it. We see a little bit of teaser at the end for the Vision. Mm-hmm. Who we know is in the movie from the posters. But to me, it seems like, okay, they saw Avengers 1 and what a success that was. It was. And they're like, okay, so let's do that again and then start setting up for the big one, which would be Civil War, Captain America 3.
So this is going to be like a filler movie.
Yes and no. I think it's just going to be almost a carbon copy of the first one, but without the team building. Like all the action and then the team falling apart. So it's going to be a complete separate thing. And to me, someone that didn't like Avengers 1, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to get more of the same.
Right. And I was kind of angry, too, because they started out this trailer with Ultron. And they're talking about how he was supposed to save the world and help people. And I'm like, oh, man, I can really relate. And he's like, but now I'm just going to fuck him up. And I'm like, whoa, okay, don't like you anymore.
Can you sing that Pinocchio song again? You were friendly then.
The creepy-ass Pinocchio song. Was that him singing? Because he's got a very nice voice.
He does. That's when Bane comes in. What a nice... I can't do it right now. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I used to do a pretty decent Tom Hardy one.
That's my Bane voice there.
We did see Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch for a little bit. There was a really nice shot of Quicksilver punching Captain America in the face. When he was in regular fast motion and Captain America was in slow motion, you see his fucking head go back. I thought that was awesome. I think they can do some really nice shots with Quicksilver in the slow motion. Maybe, I don't know if it'll top that X-Men Days of Future Past scene. I thought that was amazing. Mm-hmm. But they'll definitely do some cool things with him.
Agreed. Another thing I got hung up on a lot of things in this trailer, was when Scarlett Johansson jumps out of a plane on her motorcycle. Because that wouldn't work either. And that bothered me.
A lot of things in these movies don't work.
And then but like when I watch DC trailers, I don't think about that. It's just Marvel trailers. So anyway, then that got me thinking, well, if she came out of the back of a truck, that would work. But she'd have to be moving at a pretty high speed to jump out of a plane and keep going. Because if she just rolled out of a plane, like she'd tip over.
It would just flip. Just explosions everywhere.
Exactly. And she shouldn't be doing that if she's pregnant. So these are all the things I thought watching that trailer. I'm such a woman.
You are.
These are women things that we think of.
That is exactly it.
Brokettes, you've all been let into the mind of a woman.
Use it wisely.
Yes.
The mind of a Kelli. Even though I'm not going to be there lining up to see it on day one, I think it's still a good thing that people are out there, they're enjoying it. Whatever is out there, even if I didn't like the first one, and chances are if it's like the first one, I won't like the second Avengers. But the fact that people are out there, they're getting into these superheroes, they're now going to learn about Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. That's going to be someone else's favorite superhero, and that's fine. From there, they're going to go into Hot Topics or comic book shops everywhere and start picking up merchandise and try to learn more about the characters. And that just continues the superhero hype, which also helps out Warner Brothers and the DC movies, because it's just, to them, they're superheroes. It's not a matter of like, well, this is only DC and this is only Marvel. For some people, it is. And you can choose your preference just like I did and just like Kelly did as well.
And you can choose DC just like Dan and I did.
But they're still excited for it, and they still want to see these movies. For example, like we're bigger on the Batman, for example, the Nolan trilogy, and we still saw Guardians of the Galaxy when that released.
Yep.
It's all comic books, and it's all fun, and it's good overall.
Agreed. And adding to that wonderful comic book family, we did see the first images of Melissa Benoist as Supergirl, which was released today.
That's another thing, television. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, you had the animated series, but the live action stuff didn't really take off like it has been recently. The new Supergirl outfit, it was actually designed by Colleen Atwood, who's worked on Arrow, The Flash, and Alice in Wonderland. And she did this Supergirl design for the show, which is airing this fall on CBS.
She's quoted saying, "In designing Supergirl, I wanted to embrace the past, but more importantly, thrust her into the street-style action hero of today." She said this in an official press release.
You can check out the Supergirl outfit on Newsarama.com or on DC's official Twitter page. They put one up there as well.
What did you think about the costume?
I felt like it was not the New 52 at all. Like, it was very different than that. But it was more like the traditional Supergirl outfit, but they mixed that in with the Man of Steel Henry Cavill outfit. So it has like the darker colors, the darker blue, and it's also got that texture and the Superman-esque, which is very reminiscent of that Henry Cavill design. I liked it.
I liked it also. It was much less sexualized than I imagined it would be.
Did you expect like the sort of belly showing like in Justice League?
I don't know that I did that. More, I was expecting a shorter skirt or something similar to the New 52, which, don't get me wrong, I think is a really badass costume. Mm-hmm. But it kind of reminded me of the old Superman costume from Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Superman. Just very, very conservative. So for me, it's going to depend on her personality and how they write her character, because for me, I feel if she was a typical teenage girl, she would pick something that was sexier. So it's all going to depend on what they decide to do with her character. They've released great stuff with The Flash and Gotham, and I'm sure that this will be, yes, Constantine. Oh, I miss Constantine. But only the TV show, not the comic book Constantine, because I don't like that man in the comic book. But they've done great things, and so I'm sure this will be great as well. This is just preliminary stuff. So I will have to wait and see.
Do you know Dean Cain actually has a part in the show?
Does
He's playing
he really?
a character. Yeah.
Good for him. I had such a crush on him too.
See, now they're getting the Superman fans as well mixed into this.
Good.
I'm more curious as to whether this will, I guess, maybe it can. If this takes place in the DC Cinematic Universe, I know they're trying not to mix them. Whether or not that's a good or a bad thing is a conversation for another time. But just the fact that it looks so much like the Man of Steel outfit, it makes me very curious if we're going to see any crossing over there.
I don't think so. I don't think we will.
Because CBS doesn't have another show, a DC show that it's crossing into. I think maybe Constantine was, but we don't even know if that's coming back. So that if this was on the same channel as Arrow or The Flash, it'd be like, okay, so she's going to be a part of that team. But we're not seeing that, so I don't know. I think only time will tell. The one thing I've been reading from Twitter, from Facebook and everything, the reactions to the outfit, people don't really have a problem with it. They more have a problem with the actress, Melissa. They're saying that she looks a little bit too old.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm like, too old to what? Like, what are we comparing it to? Which Supergirl are they all going straight towards?
Is she supposed to be a teenager in this?
We don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah, if they're trying to go for a teenage Supergirl, then yes, she does look older than a teenager.
I think if she's going out fighting street, heroes or whatever they're calling it, the street style action hero of today, maybe they are going for someone a little bit older. I think she looks fine. I think it's great. I think we're obviously going to give it a shot first. We're going to watch the episodes, as we always say.
Of course.
Wait for the show, see if you like it.
Absolutely.
Brokeheads out there may have seen it already, but we actually did do recently an unboxing on the Alex Ross DC Collectibles Joker and Harley Quinn statue.
This statue is beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. You can check out the unboxing on youtube.com/thereasonsimbroke. There's also a link on nerdupmedia.com.
And buy me another one.
One in case it breaks and then you have a backup?
No, I just want two.
Just two?
One for downstairs, one for upstairs.
Some of the stuff we didn't talk about on it, or I guess to expand on the unboxing, $250 for the statue. And it does stand at 12.5 inches. We've seen that Alex Ross painting all over the place on wallets.
Of course.
On, if you were to go to the actual college that he graduated from, you see an Alex Ross mural and it's fucking up on there.
Magical.
T-shirts, of course. And now it's actually a statue. Do you feel like they did the original work justice with this physical product?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much more detail in this than I expected. I mentioned it on the video, but I want to point it out here. The design of Harley's costume, it actually looks like it's sewn together. So it's not just a flat line where the colors split. It looks like a seam, which I was just not expecting at all.
When you see the press image of what they were actually making, that does not do the statue justice. Normally that looks better than what you actually end up getting. That is truly not the case here. On the official images, she looks too glossy, and that's what I was a little worried about when it was coming in, that maybe the whole statue would be over gloss, but honestly it's just on Harley and then a couple of highlights on the Joker himself, and that does correlate with the artwork from Alex Ross, and it absolutely fits. You see Harley sometimes done by Sideshow, it's not in that shiny look, it's more in the I don't know, like a matte finish on them, and that looks great too, but this actually works to give it that watercolor or painted look to what Alex Ross did.
Yeah, it's absolutely, I think, one of the best things that we've picked up in a while. Even with the high price point, I definitely recommend it. It is a limited edition of 5,200, so get to it fast because it'll be gone soon, I promise. And then buy me an extra one.
Something you said last week, Mike today, he actually came into the shop. He's a listener, he's also a subscriber at the comic book shop I work at. He reminded me that you have an oath that you promised from last week. An oath of Brokettes for the Brokettes power the lantern that is the reasons I'm broke.
Yes, I did promise an oath, and I wrote it tonight. Because I got busy with work.
The point is, it is finished and it is ready.
It is finished. Okay, I gotta get out my paper. That's the paper sound, if anybody doesn't know. Don't make fun of my oath.
I won't. No one will.
Nobody better make fun of this oath.
Because there was no oath before this, and now there is.
This is the truth. Okay. In sunshine days and dark midnights, your comets bring us such delight. Let those who harness Twitter's might respond to us. Brokettes. All right.
That was awesome. I love it.
That's my
I hadn't
oath.
heard this yet.
Yep.
First time hearing it.
I surprised him.
That needs to be on a shirt, and we'll have to make up a ring with a little, I don't know, a Brokette symbol that we'll have to make up.
We need a Brokette symbol.
We need an artist. An artist to do this. I have basic skills, but I gotta find someone that can do a t-shirt.
I'll make it. It'll be a stick figure.
Let's get some artists out there, Brokettes. Make up a Brokette symbol, something that would go on a t-shirt, maybe would go on a ring.
Yes.
Let's see what happens. Let's plant the seeds and see where it goes from there.
I'll get a tattoo of this, but not really.
And we do want to remind everyone, MegaCon is coming. Proud supporters of all of us at Nerd Up Media. And we do want to highlight a guest this week, which is Alvin Lee, a comic book artist.
Lee has worked under major comic book publishers, including Image Comics, Udon Studios, as an independent publisher, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and Wildstorm Productions. Gamers know him for the gorgeous Marvel vs. Capcom 3 cover art.
I got the collector's edition of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and that's the steelbook case, and that is where you see Alvin Lee's work completely, because it goes all the way to the back. Got a couple of the voice actors, the voice of Chun-Li signed it, the actual writer for the game signed it as well, and Alvin Lee, I got to get him to sign it, and also do some bust sketches. He will be doing those, first come, first serve. I think they were $60 when I saw him at C2E2, it might have changed by now, but he does some killer X-23. If you have a blank cover of X-Men or Avengers vs. X-Men, absolutely get that done. He does an amazing Spider-Man. He does some DC characters as well. So I'm going to have him do a Harley Quinn,
yes,
assuming I actually get a spot on his list. And maybe Spider-Gwen. He does do an amazing Spider-Man.
That'd be awesome.
I think I'd like him to do a Gwen Stacy without the mask, and then maybe with the hood. That way you can actually see, because he does his specialty. I think he does women the best out of anything, and you can see it on the covers as well. He does an awesome Street Fighter and all that, but I don't know. I feel like most of the people actually see him for. If you can see his work, go to Alvin Lee. He has a DeviantArt. Type it in there. You'll check it out. You won't regret it. He will be at MegaCon. That MegaCon is April 10th through the 12th at the Orange County Convention Center.
You can get your tickets at megaconvention.com. And if you actually get them early, you save a little bit of money.
Don't wait and get it at the actual site, because one, it'll be more expensive, but two, you'll be waiting even longer.
Ugh.
Get them ahead of time.
That line is hella long.
It is.
And they're adding some guests, and we'll probably talk about one later, but it's going to bring in way more than the normal crowd, kind of like Walking Dead did last year.
Yeah, that was insane.
Oh, man. That was some cray-cray.
But it is our favorite convention every single year. We hope to see you out there. We'll be there Friday and Sunday.
I might be there Saturday, too.
Awesome.
I'm just saying, if I can get all the days off, I'm going. See you later, bye.
Might as well.
You can just stay at home.
Quick reminder, we will also have a panel at Omni Expo. We'll be talking more about Omni Expo once MegaCon comes and goes. But that panel will be podcasting 101 with all of us at Nerd Up Media.
Yep, Omni Expo is May 22nd through the 24th at the Rosen Center Hotel in Orlando, Florida.
Still a little bit of time for that one, but don't want you guys to forget. And finally, we have our free Audible audiobook recommendation for this week.
It is Super Mario: How Nintendo Conquered America.
Nintendo has continually set the standard for video game innovation in America, starting in 1981 with a plumpy hero who jumped over barrels to save a girl from an ape. The Saga of Mario, the portly plumber who became the most successful franchise in the history of gaming, has plot twists worthy of a video game.
You can get this audiobook free with your trial when you sign up at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
Brokettes get a free audiobook download of their choice along with a free 30-day trial. Again, that's only at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
So with that, we can move into our comic book pull list of the week. We have some amazing comics to go over. This was a tough week for me.
For your pick of the week?
For my pick of the week. It was a real tough week.
I had a couple of Brokettes already point out. They're like, oh, Kelly's pick of the week came out this...
You know what? You can just tell them to just stop. Because they don't know my pick of the week. They don't know me.
I love that ongoing gag.
You all think you know me. They think they know
you.
me. They don't know me. You guys don't know me.
We'll find out.
My oath, it wasn't about you. It's about the ones who don't know me. I'm still a mystery to them. They enjoy listening to my words, not just, oh, Kelly's going to say the same thing again.
First one being huge friend of all of us at Nerd Up Media. Talks to us all the time on Twitter. From Jimmy Palmiotti and Matt Brady, this is The Con Job, number 1 of 4.
So as we said, this is written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Matt Brady. The art is by Dominic Domo Stanton, and the colorist is Paul Little.
Fun little miniseries. I feel like they took the opportunity to actually do a lot of the inside jokes with conventions. Some of the gripes that they have, not only on the fan side, like all the crazy questions that people ask, but also on the operation side of some conventions. Because there are a lot of horror stories where these conventions will not pay these authors for their hotel or for actually being there, and by the time they actually fly there, they're like, what the fuck, I'm not getting paid for this? All because a convention doesn't raise enough money in ticket sales or didn't have enough set aside to pay for these guests. And some of that does play into the con job.
Right. I thought for a first issue it was really fun. You introduced some great characters, some of which that I'm really rooting for. And, really fell in love with some of these characters. You get to see a real tragic story in it as well.
With the whole cast, because this is basically a washed up cast. They starred in a television show from years ago, and now they're going to these conventions as their only source of income because they're not getting work outside of that. Unfortunately, you do see that at all the major conventions. Some of the actors that are kind of writing that one show or that one episode that they might have appeared in, unfortunately. And this is kind of telling their story. Like, what if they have this plan, and it's all in the synopsis, to rob the biggest convention in the world, which is San Diego Comic-Con. It's so much fun. Like, there is that dark side of it, but then that Jimmy side comes up where it's like, let's have fun with this now, with this cast of characters that we now sympathize with.
Yeah, I absolutely cannot wait to see where this goes. Really, really fun, really interesting. As always, Jimmy does a great job.
Next is the comic that speculators are all running out to get because it has been optioned to be a film before the comic even released. That's this week's Descender #1.
This is written by Jeff Lemire with art by Dustin Nguyen.
You had to sing it.
Had
Gave
to
that
sing
one
it.
to you.
Always sing it. Thank you.
Ongoing series. I absolutely see this already as a movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cinematic in the way that Dustin draws it. You just have to... The screenwriter must have the easiest time doing this.
Because Dustin's magical.
He is magical. He puts out some of the best... We've seen a ton of his work, but some of these layouts are the best that I've ever seen out of him. And the splash pages truly suck you into the world.
Now you see why he's my favorite artist.
He's one of my favorites, too.
No, but he's my favorite. He's not one of my favorites, Stan. He's my... You hear that, Dustin? You're my favorite. So, yes, absolutely beautiful. The story I love, too. It starts in the beginning and so much happens so quickly. And then we get this huge jump ahead in time. And already I feel for all of these characters. And I want to see the best possible for them. But I know it's going to be a hard time. And I'm so sad.
The very summary of what this beginning of the book is, there's a civilization, big city, and then these mysterious robot aliens come about.
The Iron Giant.
Yeah, one of them looks exactly like the Iron Giant. And tragedy, of course, happens. They don't understand what these robots are, and as they're trying to figure out, that's when an attack happens. Well, the one solution to any future robots coming or learning more about this race lies in this one robot boy who happens to be the last of his actual kind. And then that's where the sadness comes in, and that's where the sci-fi comes in. And already the characters I'm adoring, not just the main character, but the scientist that's attached and all the third characters. It's very similar to Saga, where they introduce them and you're immediately attached. And I have told subscribers at the shop too, Jeff Lemire is very hit and miss. This is absolutely a hit.
Yep, absolutely. I agree 100%. Like you said, can definitely see it as a movie. Would love to see it as a movie. Love Dustin's work. I'm glad he's on an ongoing, and I can just enjoy it every month.
And that's why it is my pick of the week.
Really? This is your pick of the week? Good for you.
Best art, best story, best comic overall.
It was a very good book. I enjoyed it as well. Our next book is Powerpuff Girls Super Smash Up #2 of 6. The story and art are by Derek Charm.
Powerpuff Girls and crew are still trying to chase Dee Dee throughout the different dimensions, the different Cartoon Network worlds, because she did take a little bit of Chemical X, which of course created the Powerpuff Girls, but it goes way different. This time, this issue actually focuses on Courage the Cowardly Dog. I like this one way more than #1.
I agree. We get to see things from Courage's side in this too, which was a lot of fun for me. Slender Man's in there, but it's not really Slender Man, but it's Slender Man.
Yeah. And you get to go into the mind of Courage, actually some inner dialogue, which was a first for me. I'd never imagined that with Courage. Like, he does talk quite a bit in the show, but...
Not really. He more goes, ah! And
Muriel. He does say the owner's names.
Does he say Muriel?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he's talked to some of the monsters before.
The only thing I really remember about that show, and it terrified me so much that I never watched it again, was the one where he goes down the bathtub drain and there's that evil-ass mermaid.
Never, I don't remember that one.
Oh man, that one was like real creepy. And then I never watched it again after that because I was just too freaked out.
I used to love the show, and I'm glad they dove into that world with this latest Powerpuff Girls. I wouldn't say it's a must-buy, but if you do like Courage the Cowardly Dog, if you enjoyed that show, I think you can pick up just this issue and you'd be okay. But let's see where they go in with #3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going into Cow and Chicken next.
Okay.
Who did
All
they...
right.
They said at the end who we're going into next. I think maybe it's Cow and Chicken, which I haven't heard from in a long time. So that'll be interesting.
Eventually they'll have to go into Johnny Bravo, and I'll be happy.
Because he goes, hoo-ha-hoo.
Exactly.
That's the only reason you like him.
Next is your pick of the week, which
You
is
don't-
Saga
you
number
don't
26.
know that.
Written by Brian K. Vaughan.
You don't know.
Art by Fiona Staples.
You don't know that that's my pick of the week.
So let's talk about it.
How do you know that this is my pick of the week? You don't know that this is my pick of the week.
We get introduced to yet another character in this, while expanding on the crew of 3 or 4 that we found in number 25. I said last month that I thought 25 was the first misstep in the series. This picks it right back up.
I didn't even think 25 was a misstep. 25 was still great. But this is wonderful. You get to see a change in character, or the beginning of a change in character, for one of our villains.
Yes, and I did like that.
Yes, I liked that a lot. it's just continuing where the story has, being awesome as it always has. The ending for me was a whoa, what's gonna happen moment, which I love that the book does that, because you read through the whole issue and you're like, okay, this is awesome as the last one, and then they throw something in there that flips, a big twist or something that
turns the tides.
It turns the tides, and it just makes you wish the next one was out already.
You hit a key point in that one of the villains becomes way more relatable right after this issue. I disliked him right before this. I'm like, this is just some crazy motherfucker. And then when this happens, I'm like, okay, I understand what he's doing. And other characters are actually liking the fact some of his actions that we saw 5 issues ago.
Right.
I'm like, okay, he's sort of justified in what he's doing. And he's almost becoming friends with our family of characters that we have in Saga. So I'm like, you know what? You're okay, TV Man. You're all right.
TV Man? Is that his name?
That is his name. So great issue. Your pick of the week, right?
You don't... Why do you guys always do this to me? You guys are so mean.
I'm just trying to figure it out so we can move forward into Detective Comics.
How is... I don't understand. You don't know that we had a lot of good comics this week.
All right, so the DC books. We've got 3 of them.
Yes, it was my pick of the week. Yeah, so next we have Detective Comics number 40.
Trying to sneak that in.
Okay, no, but I want to go back to my pick of the week, which was in fact Saga. Yes, you guys all know me well. This is just a good book, man. It's just a good book. And until they give me a bad book, it's going to be my pick of the week. And even when they give me a bad book, it's probably still going to be my pick of the week.
Not even your favorite artist, Dustin Nguyen,
you know what?
could shake off the beast that is Saga.
The Saga's been going on my pick of the week for what, 2 years now?
What had the best art? Descender or Saga?
Descender.
What had the best story?
Saga.
Descender or Saga?
Saga.
So story obviously resonates way more with you than artwork.
It does, which is why we're so good at this podcast together, because you look at the art and I look at the story. And so that helps us give our our listeners, the best opinion on these books that we can. But Saga's more about just one issue story. It's about 20 bajillion issues of story, which have all been fantastic, and that's why it's always my pick of the week. And it's got good art too.
Over 2 years of stories.
Yeah.
Your pick of the week every single time.
You know what? It's beaten out Dustin Nguyen before too, because we had Little Gotham one week.
That's true. Yeah.
So, sorry Dustin. Love you, man. I'd get your artwork tattooed on my body, but I'd get Saga's story tattooed on my body too. My back should just be the story of a Saga. Really tiny writing.
So both our picks of the weeks were independent books.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So we have Detective Comics number 40, written by Francis Manapul, also drawn by Francis Manapul. But there's another writer, which is Brian Buccellato.
So this is the conclusion of the Anarchy arc.
Anarchy / Mad Hatter, because Mad Hatter played so strong in the origin of Anarchy.
Yes. We get to see the completion of that origin, and I feel it was kind of rushed, though, because we got a little taste of it in the last issue. And in this issue, they go, yep, here's what it is, here's why, okay, done.
Yeah, I can see that, but they substitute that with the fact that they actually gave more Harvey, Bullock, and Batman moments, which is what I adore about this team and this arc right now, is they're giving Harvey Bullock a bigger spotlight, and when he works with Batman, it's just so fascinating. It's a much different relationship than what you get between Batman and Commissioner Gordon. It's Harvey is not he's not a crooked cop, but he will bend the rules a little bit, just like Batman completely.
He's a bendy cop.
Lawbender.
He's Bendy Bullock.
So that's what I like about this arc. But the team set out to actually reinvent Anarchy. Did they succeed?
I mean, I guess they gave him a reasoning for why he was attacking the Mad Hatter.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen a reasoning for why he was causing anarchy to begin with. Because I feel like, okay, Mad Hatter's done, TCO'd, which stands for taken care of. I use weird, shortenings of things, I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone, he's out of the picture, so now can we ever really see anarchy again? Because now what's his motivation gonna be?
I think it's more to prevent the tragedy. It's kind of like a twisted version of Batman. It's to prevent the tragedy that happened to that family member that he really cared about. And another thing, too, is that mask that origin to Anarchy's mask is so sweet and heartfelt and creepy and twisted at the same time, which makes it perfect for a Batman villain. I thought that was amazing. Like,
Yes.
no one had given that mask a true origin like this. So I felt like, yes, they absolutely succeeded in reinventing Anarchy, and unlike the Anarchy that we've seen in the Batman cartoon show or even in the Arkham games, this is one that I do want to see again.
I don't know. I'm so mixed. For me, it would depend on what they did with him, because from a story perspective, I feel like his story's been told. And that's rough for me, because I don't feel like you should do that with your villains. Like, Hatter's crazy. Yes, he's put away, but I can still see him breaking out and trying to find an Alice. Anarchy, I don't see him breaking out and trying to do the same things, because I feel like his whole motivation was to take down Hatter for what Hatter had done. And so is he going to break out? And I mean, I could see him maybe going after people who were doing the same thing Hatter was doing, but not to the scale that he did in this, where he's trying to take over the whole city to the point where Batman and Bullock needed to go into super force to take him down.
I think theoretically they can stretch it out into a future arc, because if you remember Mr. Freeze in the animated series, his sole goal was to take revenge on this guy who pretty much threatened to kill his wife in the cartoon. And that was all ended in Heart of Ice. Like, that was the whole story. And they managed to bring him back and expand the whole thing into, well, he has to find Nora now. Even though this guy got his comeuppance or whatever, he still has to find Nora. And there's still Batman that's going to stop him. And then at one point, they make it a plot point where they're like, Mr. Freeze has nothing to do now. Like, he is done. He doesn't want to live anymore, but he can't die. But then Batman comes along, or some tragedy comes along, or Nora becomes in danger again. He has to find a way to get her out. I think they can do it. A good writer can actually bring character back around.
We'll see. I'm sure we will see him again, but for me, it wasn't enough. So our next book is Grayson number 8. This is written by Tom King and Tim Seeley, with art by Mikkel Janin, and the colorist is Jeremy Cox.
Another solid issue. I liked Grayson number 8 a lot, and this is why we keep staying on it, because you mentioned it last time. Like, they'll give us a couple of issues where we're like, oh, not very good, and then, oh shit, this is fucking awesome. And this is one of those cases. You get more background on who's actually running Spiral, who the people coming after him are, and then Grayson's reaction to someone, an agent that he actually cares for, and how he actually puts on Nightwing mode to try to fix everything.
Yeah, that was really cool. We also get to see those 4 girls that were part of the school.
The ones that are in love with Nightwing.
Yes, in love with his buns.
They are the Twitters of... All I see Twitter users talking about is Nightwing's ass. And that's who they are.
Well, I mean, they do draw it to be talked about. I'm just saying.
They do, especially now, because that's what people notice.
But yes, they name each butt cheek of Grayson's ass. It's Jim and Juan. And I don't know why they picked Jim and Juan.
They do. Are you swooning over Dick Grayson, or are you more
No,
like, you're just...
I swoon over Batman.
You're like, that's just Robin.
Yeah, I'm like, you're just real whiny. Like, I feel like I would have to mother you. Batman, he can take care of himself. He's just gonna show up, like, when he wants something. Alfred cooks all the time. I don't gotta cook or clean or anything. I just get to chill in Wayne Manor and enjoy the benefits.
Not so much with Dick Grayson.
Well, and Batman needs, like, healing and love and understanding, and women go for that. We like projects.
You do, absolutely.
Grayson's not a project. He's just work.
That he is. This Grayson number 8 was a self-contained story. There were some things in the past that do tie into this. If you are trying to get into Grayson, I mean, it's only on issue 8. You can theoretically pick up on 1 through 7. They haven't been flying off the shelves, which is why I thought they were going to bring back Nightwing as soon as June came around with the new titles.
Right.
Which they're actually still continuing on Grayson. And they set up a new mystery, a new villain in this issue that I'm like, all right, well, let's see what happens in June. Let's find out where they're going with this, because this is the last issue before the break.
Yes.
And I feel like it ended at a good point.
I agree. I do feel like the next issue that we see in June will be a jumping on point, because I do feel like this was kind of the end of this arc with this particular Spiral man. And I was so mad we didn't find out his name.
We might.
I'm sure he didn't really have an important name.
Batman knows his name.
I'm sure he was like dying. He's like, my name is Bob. Bob Smith. And I'm like, no, Bob Smith. That dastardly guy.
And that is kind of the goal for DC, is they are ending these stories at a point where readers can jump on in June. And in the meantime, we're going to have Convergence next month. We'll see Dick Grayson with Barbara in the Nightwing Oracle issue.
Yes, cannot wait.
Final book this week is Harley Quinn number 15, written by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti, art by Chad Hardin and John Timms, colors by Alex Sinclair and Paul Mounts.
You know what I pulled away most from this story?
I think I know what you're going to say.
You probably know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say?
Bisexual Harley Quinn confirmed.
Done. Absolutely. She and Ivy are most def a thing. But Ivy is okay with her being with other people, too, which surprised me.
Yeah, and even for I think it was the Valentine's Day special or the annual, one of the two, where Harley asks her, oh, you don't care that I'm trying to see this other guy? And Ivy's like, no, I don't. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, they are best friends.
Right.
And I don't think Ivy sees it. Like, maybe she is in love with Harley Quinn, like we saw in the Gotham City Sirens, which at this point isn't exactly canon. But I think Ivy can let Harley Quinn go enough, because Harley Quinn's going to have fun. She's going to go out and get in trouble and be hurt, but Ivy's going to be there to make her feel better as a friend, and I guess as someone people who they both love each other. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to see that confirmation, it is actually in Harley Quinn number 15. You do have it. Jimmy and Amanda go all out. Here you go.
Of course.
We teased it before. Here you go. They're gay characters.
Yeah. Why
Big
not?
deal. Everyone knew. Even from the animated series, you kind of picked up on it when you were watching it.
When they lived together and Harley walked around in her underwear, yeah.
Or even in one of the Bruce Timm comics, Ivy and Harley, they were actually written by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. They shower naked together and, and play around. Like, you see that in the comic. Of course, it wasn't going to be in the cartoon. But that's why comics are so awesome, especially the ones based on the animated series. That's where Mad Love came from. As far as this issue goes, it is another kind of ending point as well, right before Convergence. We're seeing that trend with the DC Comics this month. And it was another fun book and another jumping on point for many readers.
Yeah. Yep, a lot of fun. Harley with her shenanigans. I think when we come back after Convergence, we're going to see a new side of Harley. So she's going to go, I mean, not too many spoilers, but go from being a villain to kind of helping people. But she's going to do it in her Harley way, so she's probably going to end up messing something up also.
Killing evil people, which we saw in this. And the thing that I'm most excited for, not the headline that they're going to put up everywhere on Bleeding Cool and Newsarm or whatever, like Harley Quinn is bisexual. It's actually the fact that we're going to have like a Harley squad coming up in June. And that got me super excited. Mm-hmm. Jimmy was tweeting about it today. 3 brand new characters make an appearance in this issue. Diverse as well. They're all minorities. And they explore each of their backgrounds, where they come from. One's from a restaurant, one's actually involved in gangs, but they're each fun in their own way. Like, they can absolutely fit in this team that is going to be headed by Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy.
Yes.
I talked about it before, how important it is for Ivy and Harley to be together. Now, not only do we have that, we have a squad, and from that squad, fucking merchandise. Make a fucking Harley squad shirt sold to both Kelli and I. And
I was just gonna say that the only thing that makes me super, super sad is that we won't see these costumes until June. And MegaCon's already passed by then, so how am I supposed to be part of the Harley squad if I don't know what they're wearing? So Jimmy and Amanda, email me a picture.
ASAP.
And if you email me a picture, I will make a costume and wear it to MegaCon.
Otherwise, what are you going to be? Let them know.
Oh, man. I want to be Anne Bonny. Anne Bonny's the costume that I'm going to work on. I would love to be New 52 Batgirl from her newest design. But that costume, man, it's so hard. And I can't find purple pleather.
You may have to find someone to make it for you. It might be something you may have to hire someone for.
I don't have that kind of money.
Well, another reason to save up.
Yeah, save up for everything.
Save up for next year's MegaCon. You could also go as Strix again.
Yes, I do still have my Strix costume.
Maybe next time Gail Simone's in town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I will definitely be going as Anne Bonny to MegaCon. And if Jimmy and Amanda send me that picture, I will go as a Harley squad as well.
So to round up our comics, my pick of the week was Descender number 1.
I also enjoyed Descender number 1.
Your pick of the week was Saga number 26.
Stop, you guys. Yes, it was.
Don't forget, Brokettes out there, let us know if you liked The Oath and send us some couple of prototype designs for what would go on a Brokette ring, a Brokette core ring. You can let us know on twitter.com/reasonsimebroke, facebook.com/thereasonsimbroke.
What color is our lantern?
That's something they'll have to decide as well.
Okay. Yep, we need to know what color our lantern is too.
I don't feel like it could be any of the existing lantern colors. It would have to be something new.
Is there a purple? There is a purple lantern.
They call it indigo. We'll figure it out. Brokettes are creative. We've got awesome listeners, awesome fans. And of course, we want to thank all of you out there for tuning in, for spreading the word on the show.
In addition to spreading the word, you can help us out by leaving reviews, comments, questions of the week. We always love getting those and reading them on the air. You can also head over to nerditmedia.com/shop and pick up a shirt.
For a donation of $16.99, you get sent a t-shirt in your choice of color, which is black, gray, red, or blue. Available in all sizes for men and women. Said it last week, we recently added extra small to women's.
Perfect.
We appreciate all of the reviews, all of the donations. Huge thanks to everyone out there. Love interacting with all the Brokettes over Twitter, over Facebook, or at the shop itself. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
We'll see you next week.